Hello and welcome to another episode of I Complain About Cloudflare. For all of you who don't already know, Cloudflare is a company that helps in routing traffic through the so-called fastest routes across the internet. But this is the problem. We've been having an international fiber cut for our region, which is East Africa, I think. And normally, if Cloudflare was really routing the traffic through the fastest route, you would expect local traffic to not be affected. And this is something that I've always wondered about Cloudflare. When the origin is hosted in, like, my country, the origin is here in my country in Rwanda, and now there's an international fiber cut, and somehow the service that is through Cloudflare that points to my origin is also affected. Then the question becomes, how does a Red Sea fiber cut affect local traffic? Look how slowly Cloudflare is loading. And this is because there has been a cut in the Red Sea. I mean, okay, I get maybe Cloudflare is not hosted here, but I have services that are hosted locally, I mean here, and somehow they are being affected by a fiber cut that occurred in the Red Sea that links East Africa to South Africa. So, for this reason, I am forced to assume that even when the service is hosted locally, when you route it through Cloudflare, instead of giving you the shortest route, as they claim, they still route local traffic in international waters. And for the case of Rwanda, I've noticed that the traffic is routed through Paris. And I also know that Cloudflare is a member of the RINEX, which is the Rwanda Internet Exchange Point, and local traffic shouldn't normally be affected by international fiber cuts, but the fact that they are means that, contrary to what they claim, data, local data is being routed internationally for some shadowy reasons. I have no other explanation. I mean, and to prove this, when I have a service that is hosted locally and I remove it from Cloudflare, despite the international fiber cut, there is very improvement in speed. I mean, like if I point it directly to the IP of my service, it works perfectly. So this means that Cloudflare intentionally routes traffic the longest way. They route the traffic the longest way. For what reasons? I don't know. Why would you route traffic to a local data center through Paris? Why would you do that? Why would you take my request, route it all the way through Johannesburg, South Africa, take it to Paris, then bring it back to a data center that is just nearby? Why would you do that, Cloudflare? Explain to me, unless you are doing some shadowy data analysis and selling data to some shadowy first world corporation. I see no other reason why local traffic should be affected by international fiber cuts. That's just ridiculous. Because if I point my domains directly to the IP, they work just fine. And that's supposed to be your job. Aren't you supposed to be the one who routes the traffic through the fastest route? And if you're not doing that, if you are routing the traffic the longest route, why are you penalizing your customers? Why do you have to sell data to corporations? Why? And even if you had to, why don't you make a copy or something but still keep a backup route for traffic to go as fast as it could possibly go? Oh my god, I can't believe I'm so pissed. You see, this is what they say about trusting humans. They never live up to the expectation, the things that defines what Cloudflare is. Cloudflare is supposed to route your traffic through the fastest possible route. But take this, they are routing traffic to my local data center through Johannesburg and Paris. That's ridiculous. And if I was to point my domain directly to the IP, the international fiber cut is not affecting me at all. So I believe that Cloudflare does this intentionally because they have to cover the cost of all this infrastructure and they have no other choice since most of their customers are on a free plan than to sell data, and they cannot sell data if they don't do shadowy routing of traffic of internet requests to I don't know what data center in Paris and then bring it back here as if it was the most efficient way. All right, hoping that the Red Sea fiber cut gets better in time. But look at this, even the Cloudflare dashboard hasn't even been downloading for the whole moment I've been talking. See you when I see you, Cloudflare. Again, that's just what happens when you trust big corporations when they become too big for their own standards. That's what happened. They start failing to live up to what they initially claimed to have come to solve. The problem they say they would come to solve, they fail to themselves. And that's when usually empires collapse.